Right, here we go. Back again. Alright, and today it is our good friends at Google. And yep, they continue to try to take over the world. Shock horror. And they've been in the news quite a lot as of late. And this is from 2 hours ago. Google Chrome transforms the way tabs look. Wow, ain't that something? And this is from the Metro. Google Meet, how to use the Zoom rival with no time limit. Whoop-de-doo. And this is in terms of video calling, which everybody's using at the moment. And this is from the Express. Google Chrome beats WhatsApp with an upgrade we all need right now. Yeah, we was in desperate need of it. And this is from the Independent. 1 hour ago, Google Chrome add update will save users battery life and data. So yep, they'll be queuing round the block for that one. And it's really this I want to point out from Politico 7 hours ago, how Google and Apple outflanked governments in the race to build coronavirus tracing apps. Now we touched on this before and we'll get into it again. Tech giants played hardball in forcing policymakers to fall in line with their approach to building digital tracking tools. 15th of May 2020, which is of course today, my birthday, would you believe it? Anyway, by June, national capitals from Berlin and Rome to Paris and London will roll out smartphone apps that use mobile technology to trace people's interactions, informing local populations if they have been in contact with others infected with the coronavirus. Most of these programs, which may be in place well into 2021, rely on the approach championed by Google and Apple, surprise, surprise, often against initial proposals tabled by policymakers worldwide. Yeah, because they don't want it. Because Apple and Google will own everything, all the data. Of course, but what poison do you want? Your government owning it or Apple owning it? What's the difference? It then says the ability of these tech companies to get their way, often with the support of local privacy and security advocates, has raised questions about the role of big tech in determining how governments respond to the global public health crisis. With apps soon becoming available that both rely on Google and Apple's procedures, and those that don't, the confusion will hobble Europe's strategy to coordinate its response across the 27-country bloc and elsewhere, because the different digital tools cannot interact with each other. So there's going to be a bit of a problem there. And they actually mentioned the EU, and it's funny that, because I believe the EU will eventually be destroyed, because that will all point to, again, a one world government. It's going to be needed. That's what they'll say. It then says, early last month, a German-led group pushed ahead with a toolkit developed alongside 130 tech experts across 8 countries to build apps that could detect potential infections. Critically, the plan allowed for placing everyone's data on a central server and giving epidemiologists and policymakers access to some of the information to analyse how the virus spreads nationwide. See. Within days, the initiative hit a brick wall, with little, if any, communication with local experts and EU policymakers. Google and Apple announced on April 10th they had partnered on software which would allow government-backed apps to trace potential infections, even while running in the background of people's smartphones. The approach relied on data remaining, for the most part, on people's devices. Both companies refused to open their technology to governments pushing for centralised data storage, a strategy they considered vulnerable to state snooping. So like I said, who do you trust with your data? Your central government or Apple and Google? It's the choice of two evils. Let's face it, like I said, choose your poison. It doesn't really matter. It's the same evil. And it then says, 2 days later, in terms of Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel's government intervened to ditch the initial German-led proposals in favour of those prompted by Google and Apple. Surprise, surprise, Merkel falls into line with the narrative, as they all will. It then says, this is an advisor in Germany, we need to have a discussion on how Silicon Valley is increasingly taking over the job of a nation state, said a government official. But we don't need to have it amid a pandemic. Well, I'm afraid there's no time like the present. Why not? Let's have it. There's nothing else to do. And in terms of other countries and the app, France have seemingly been digging their heels and have not adopted it yet. But again, they will fall into line. And I can bet you any money they will. They'll have problems with their app and they'll be forced into it. And in terms of the United Kingdom, it's saying that after an initial stalled response to the global public health crisis, London was eager to show it was on top of tracking COVID-19 and quickly turned in early March to a potential smartphone tracking app that had proved successful in parts of Asia. Yeah, I'm sure it did. In London, they have been rolling it out just now, actually. But the London expert is saying that on the day of the Apple release, I sent them, the government, an email to explain their system would not work properly in the background. Oh dear. And like I said, London has still plans to roll out its app nationwide by late May, and more than 65,000 people have already downloaded it during its test phase. So yeah, it's well underway, but there's problems, as we'll see. And their expert then goes on to say that to say the app is limited would be an understatement, said Christopher Weatherhead, tech lead at advocacy group Privacy International, who was involved in the tool's early testing. As soon as the phone screen is off, the app doesn't scan. Oh no, so it's only a matter of time before the public will be saying, look, it's not working. So give us the better app, which will be, of course, the Google and Apple tracing app. So it's only a matter of time, really. It then says the most efficient privacy regulators in the world right now are Apple and Google, right? Said Dara O'Brien, a privacy consultant in Dublin, who pushed back publicly with other local experts at Ireland's initial efforts to create a centralised app. The government eventually shifted to Google and Apple's approach. Surprise, surprise. He's quoted saying, "We are reliant on a duopoly of tech companies that control the operating system market." Surprise, surprise. So who's really in control? It ain't the government, that's for sure. Like I said in my last video about Google and their takeover. And if you type into Google take over the world, it will actually give you 15 reasons why Google is taking over the world. So there you go. It's from the horse's mouth, right? And in terms of Google, it's owned by this lot, Alphabet. Now this company is massive, and I mean fucking massive. They're about as big as they come, really. The company itself makes billions in profit. What a surprise. And they also own, of course, Google Ventures. And we touched on Google Ventures yesterday because they were funding Roche and their testing kits. What a surprise. So again, you can see how it's all connected. It all leads back to the same source. And in terms of Alphabet and what they own fucking everything, really. Android, YouTube, Google, you name it. But what I wanted to pick out is this. The company Nest, who deal with smart homes. The company Sidewalk, who deal with smart cities. And the other company, Waymo, who deal with self-driving cars. Now, ain't that a surprise that they would be involved with all that? Because you know where that's leading, of course, and I touched on it before, and that is to smart everything, smart cities. That's the way it's going, and it's only a matter of time now with big, massive companies like Alphabet pushing these agendas. And of course, this sort of things like smart cities will be linked up to this guy, Elon Musk and Starlink. This is where he comes in, of course. And I'll link in these videos, but I won't keep you long today, seeing as it is my birthday and I suppose I have got a couple of things to do, right? I won't say how old I am, but yeah, I'm cracking on now, that's for sure. Anyway, that is about it. Bye-bye.